Jin, originally known as Tang, was a major state during the middle part of the Zhou dynasty, based near the center of what was then China, on the lands attributed to the legendary Xia dynasty, the southern part of modern Shanxi. Although it grew in power during the spring and autumn period, its aristocratic structure saw it break apart when the duke lost power to his nobles. In 453 BCE, Jin was split into three successor states: Han, Zhao and Wei. The partition of Jin marks the end of the spring and autumn period and the beginning of the Warring States period. Geography: Jin was located in the lower Fen River drainage basin on the Shanxi Plateau. To the north were the Zirong and Beidi peoples. To the west were the Luliang Mountains and then the lowest plateau of northern Shaanxi. To the southwest the Fen River turns west to join the south-flowing part of the Yellow River, which soon leads to the Guanzhong, an area of the Wei River Valley that was the heartland of the Western Zhou and later of the Qin. To the south are the Zhongshuao Mountains and then the east-west valley of the Yellow River, which was the main route to the Wei Valley to the west. To the east were the Taihang Mountains and then the North China Plain. This location gave ambitious Jin dukes the opportunity to move north to conquer and absorb the Zirong tribes, move southwest and fight Qin, and move southeast to absorb the many smaller Zhou states. Also important to the region were the large states of Chu to the south in the Yangtze and Huai River regions and Shi to the east in Shandong. Jin had multiple capitals. The first capital of Jin was Tang. The capital was later moved to Yi, then Jiang, then Xinchen. From 746 to 677, Kuo was the capital of a fragment of Jin, Western Zhou. When the Zhou dynasty was founded, the conquered lands were given to Zhou relatives and ministers as hereditary fiefs. King Cheng of Zhou, the second Zhou king, gave the land called Tang, west of modern Yicheng County in Shanxi, to his younger brother, Tang Shuyu, with the rank of a marquis. Tang Shuyu's son and successor, Marquis Xie of Jin, changed the name of Tang to Jin. There is little information about Jin for this period beyond a list of rulers. Spring and autumn period. In 771 BCE, the Quanrong nomads drove the Zhou out of the Wei River Valley and killed the king. Marquis Wen of Jin, the 11th Marquis of Jin, supported King Ping of Zhou by killing his rival, King Xie of Zhou, an act that King Ping heavily rewarded him for. The breakaway state of Kuo when Marquis Zhao of Jin acceded the throne. He gave the land of Kuo to his uncle Chengshi, who became Wan Shu of Kuo. In 739 BCE, an official named Pan Fu murdered Marquis Zhao and invited Wan Shu to take the throne. Wan Shu entered Jin but was driven out by the people, and retreated to Kuo. All three Kuo rulers, Wan Shu, Zhuangbo and Duke Wu, made attempts to take over Jin. In 678 BCE, Duke Wu of Kuo conquered Jin and killed Marquis Min of Jin. 1 year later, after receiving gifts from Duke Wu, King Shi of Zhou made Duke Wu the legal ruler of Jin, who became known as Duke Wu of Jin. Ascendancy: with the establishment of the Kuo line, Jin became the most powerful state for 3 generations and remained powerful for a century or more after that. Duke Wu died soon after gaining control of Jin. He was followed by Duke Xian of Jin. Xian broke with Zhou feudalism by killing or exiling his cousins and ruling with appointees of various social backgrounds. He annexed 16 or 17 small states in Shanxi, dominated 38 others, and absorbed a number of Rong tribes. Some of the states conquered were Geng, Huo, Old Wei, Yu and Western Guo. His death led to a succession struggle which ended with the enthronement of Duke Hui of Jin. In 646 BCE, Duke Hui was captured by Qin and restored as a vassal. Another son of Duke Xian was Duke Wen of Jin, who spent 19 years exile in various courts. He came to the throne in 636 escorted by the troops of his father-in-law, Duke Mu of Qin. Duke Wen quickly established himself as an independent ruler by driving the Dai barbarians west of the Yellow River. In 635 BCE he supported King Xiang of Zhou against a rival and was rewarded with lands near the royal capital. In 633 BCE, he confronted the rising power of the southern state of Chu, which was then besieging Song. Instead of directly assisting Song, he attacked two vassals of Chu, Cao and Wei. The following year, he formed a military alliance with Qin, Qi and Song that defeated Chu at the Battle of Chengpu, perhaps the largest battle in the spring and autumn period. Shortly after the battle, he held an interstate conference at Jichu with King Xiang of Zhou and the rulers of 6 other states. He affirmed the lord's loyalty and received from the king the title of Ba, or hegemon. At some point there was a war with Qin which ended in peace. Duke Wen erected monuments to the fallen on both sides. The Chinese proverb, "the friendship of Qin and Jin," meaning an unbreakable bond, dates from this period. Over the next century, a four-way balance of power developed between Qin, Jin, Chu and Qi, with a number of smaller states between Jin and Qi. In 627 BCE, Jin defeated Qin while it was attacking Zheng. Jin invaded Qin in 625 BCE and was driven back the following year. In 598 BCE, Chu defeated Jin at the Battle of Mi. In 589 BCE, Jin defeated Qi, which had invaded Lu and Wei. About this time Jin began to support the southeastern state of Wu as a means of weakening Chu. Duke Li of Jin allied with Qin and Qi to make an east-west front against the threat of Chu from the south. In 579 BCE, a minister of the state of Song arranged a four-power conference in which the states agreed to limit their military strength. 4 years later, fighting broke out again. Jin and its allies defeated Chu at the Battle of Yingling. Duke Dao of Jin strengthened the state by internal improvements rather than external wars. He absorbed a number of Rong tribes and was recognized as hegemon. Decline and fall. In 6007 BCE, Duke Ling of Jin was killed by Zhao Xuan under the orders of his uncle Zhao Dun. Prince Haitun was placed on the throne as Duke Cheng of Jin. This was the beginning of the slow shift to power from the Jin dukes to the ministerial clans. Duke Li of Jin, the grandson of Duke Cheng, tried to break the power of the clans by fostering conflicts between them. In 573 BCE, he was killed by the Luan and Zhonghan clans. Duke Dou of Jin strengthened the ducal power, but could not eliminate the power of the other aristocratic families. After the reign of Duke Zhao of Jin, the Jin dukes were figureheads and the state was controlled by 6 clans: Fan, Zhonghang, Ji, Han, Zhao and Wei. The clans soon began to fight among themselves. During the time of Duke Ding of Jin, the Fan and Zhonghang clans were eliminated. By about 450 BCE, the Ji were dominant and began demanding territory from the other clans. When Zhao resisted, Ji attacked Zhao and brought along Han and Wei as allies. After a long siege at Taiyuan, Han and Wei switched sides and the 3 weaker clans annihilated the Ji. They then divided the Ji lands, as well as most of the rest of Jin, among themselves. When Duke Yu of Jin came to the throne, the 3 clans took over much of the remaining Jin lands, leaving the dukes only the area around Jiang and Kuo. From then on, the 3 clans were known as the 3 Jins. In 403 BCE, during the reign of Duke Lai of Jin, King Weili of Zhou recognized Marquis Jing of Han, Marquis Wen of Wei and Marquis Lai of Zhao as Marquesses of Han in the south, Wei in the center and Zhao in the north, completing the partition of Jin. The state of Jin still nominally existed for several decades afterwards. The Bamboo Annals mentions that in the 20th year of Duke Wan's reign, Marquis Cheng of Zhao and Marquis Gong of Han moved Duke Wan to Tunliu, and after that there were no more records of Duke Wan or any other Jin ruler. Modern historians such as Yang Quan, Qian Mu, and Han Zhaoqi generally consider 369 BC the final year of Jin's existence. Rulers. List of Jin rulers based on the records of the Grand Historian and the Bamboo Annals. The original branch. the Kuo branch, replacing the original branch in 678 BC. The records of the Grand Historian also has another Duke Jing after Duke Xiao. However, Shiji's account of the last rulers of Jin is often self-contradictory, and is further contradicted by the Bamboo Annals, which does not mention any Jin ruler after Duke Wan of Jin. Historians such as Yang Quan, Qian Mu, and Han Zhaoqi generally regard the Bamboo Annals as more reliable, as it was unearthed from the tomb of King Xiang of the state of Wei, one of the three successor states of Jin. Duke Wan is therefore generally considered the final ruler of Jin. Jin in astronomy. Jin is represented by the star 36 Capricorni in the asterism 12 states, Girl Mansion. Jin is also represented by the star Kappa Hercules in asterism right wall, heavenly market enclosure.